Hello, and welcome back to Everything Happens for a Reason. And it is our 1 year anniversary. Freaking mental. I actually can't believe I started this podcast a whole year ago. It's crazy how quickly that has went. Honestly, actually can't get over that. But it has been such a nice year, and Everything Happens for a Reason podcast started for me obviously last January when I launched it, and everybody always asks me to this day, why did you call it Everything Happens for a Reason? And for anybody that is new listening here, or even for those of you that have been here from the start, I want to say thank you. And I'm obviously assuming you're enjoying the podcast, so I'm super glad about that. But if you have been here from the start, you sort of know my reasoning behind it. But I thought I would just do a little reintroduction for any new listeners and sort of like go into depth as to why Everything Happens for a Reason. The podcast is called Everything Happens for a Reason. So if you know me at all, I am the biggest believer that like our paths are aligned for us the way they're supposed to be. Okay, I'm the biggest believer in that, and I do think that everything truly does happen to us for a reason, especially in our low moments. And life is life, and life is not easy. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many obstacles that come in our lives, and that at the time probably seem like it's the end of the world, and there's just no way of us ever coming out of that. But whenever I look back, like any bad thing or any challenging thing or like stressful time that I have been through led me to be the person that I am today. And no, I'm not perfect. I still have a lot of work to do. I still have a lot of healing, which I said in the last episode pre-Christmas. But it sort of like led me to get to where I want to be. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that. But on that note, happy 2026, everybody. So we are stepping into the new year now, which is super exciting. And like, I know it's such a concept of time, but still, like, even for myself, me and the girls on Christmas Eve, what am I talking about? New Year's Eve, sat down, done our vision boards, and it just gets me so excited for the accomplishments that I want to have going into 2027. And I feel like that 12 months is such a good measurement of, you know, seeing how far you've come, seeing all the different things that you would have went through, for example, and like how did you get to where you are now, for example. And I'm really excited about 2026. I do definitely think it's going to be a big year. I feel like I'm definitely the clearest I've ever been in terms of what I want for myself and what I have learned over the last couple of years. And like, I'm really clear in terms of like what I want to attract, the people I want to attract, you know, relationships, friendships, my business. I have never had a clearer vision with. I have so many exciting projects coming up, and yeah, I'm just so excited about it. How many times have I said fucking excited in this episode, and we're only about 3 minutes in? But yeah, like there's so many things that I'm super buzzed about, because it just feels like a fresh start. But also, like, 2025 was a weird year for me in general. Just, it was neither like a good year or a bad year necessarily. I would say it's just one of those things that like had to go through to get the momentum going. But like, even through the challenges, I have came out the other end of it, and I'm like, okay, now I know exactly why this happened. I know exactly why I had to enter or re-enter certain situations to learn my lesson, because yeah, lessons always turn into blessings regardless of what the situation is. But to rewind it back as to why I started Everything Happens for a Reason, essentially. So I started the podcast in 2025, and my whole life sort of got turned around in 2023. And it was probably I would say, the weirdest year in terms of, from the outside, nobody really knew what was going on, because I am in general such a private person. Well, I used to be. Now I'm fucking come on and talk about anything, clearly. But I used to be a really private person, so nobody really knew what was going on. And like, even if you went onto my socials and stuff, all you would have seen was fitness content, gym content, that sort of thing, which is obviously what still majority of my Instagram and TikTok and that side of things is about, because of my career path. And I absolutely love it. I love creating that type of content. But I wanted to start this podcast to show more of me, and like to show more of my own personality, and to show more of who I am and what I am about, and like the lessons that I've learned throughout the years, and how I sort of got to a stage that I was at. But anyway, let's rewind back to 2023. 2023 was a year from hell. This is the way I'm going to describe it. It was one of the most challenging years I've ever had, and like, I completely lost myself that year. Like, when I say going into 2024, I remembered the clarity that I had. Like, I celebrated that New Year's Eve on a beach in Bali. And I remember me and my friend standing on the beach, and I literally said, like, 2024, like that's it. It has to be the year, because I don't have a choice anymore because of how bad 2023 was. And like, to give a bit of background, essentially, I'm so weird with talking about stuff like this, but got my heart broken a little bit, to put lightly. Just was in a really, really toxic sort of situation, toxic environment. Now, move past all of that now. Everything's very clear. Like, I know why I went through all that, but I went through a lot of challenges in 2023, and it was very much so my own fault, as well as anybody else's. Okay, so, and the reason that I want to mention that is because we are so quick to blame other people and forget to like look inwards. And it was down to me to stay in a situation that I didn't want to stay in. It was down to me to, not leave when I wanted to leave. And that's not even in terms of like the relationship or anything like that. It's more so to do with, I wasn't happy with my life at home. Like, I wasn't happy in Ireland. I didn't enjoy it. I literally woke up every single day just wishing that I wasn't there. Not in that type of way. I mean, like, in Ireland, I always wanted to move away, and I always put a back burner on it, and I ignored my gut feeling, and I kept pushing it back and pushing it back. And at that time, I just felt like I was just going to stay there forever, and I was going to stay stuck. And one day, I literally woke up and something clicked, and I was like, enough is fucking enough. I was 23 at the stage. I was a baby. I still am a baby, but I was an absolute baby at the time. And I was like, this is not what my life is going to look like for the next 5-10 years of my life. Like, I always wanted to travel. I wanted to move around the world. I wanted to move away. I wanted new experiences. I wanted to meet new people. Like, that is who I am inside. And I've always had that itch within me. I just kept pushing it down and down and down. And literally one day I woke up and I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. Booked my flight and left a couple of days later. Like, it was so sporadic, so chaotic. And now looking back, I was like, I must have been really, really fed up of everything to actually do that, because I would have never, ever, ever had the guts to do anything like that beforehand. Like, my anxiety wouldn't have allowed that. And getting on the flight, I got a flight to Bali, because everybody goes to heal to Bali, right? That's essentially where you're going to go straight away. I got a flight to Bali, and it was a 24-hour flight that I had to sit there with my own thoughts and reassess my whole life. And it literally made me realize, like, that sort of like 21 to 23 period was such a weird period for me. I felt so stuck. So many accomplishments happened in those years. Like, I moved my PT business to online, and like everything was aligning from that perspective. I said no to going to uni, to start my business at the age of 19, which again is mental, because I was so young. I didn't have a notion what I was doing. I didn't even know where I was going to be in life or what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I took so many major risks that all ended up working out, no matter how stressed, no matter how scared, no matter how anxious I was at the time. They all went, like, it was like a building block from one to the other. And like, I remember saying no to uni, and I was shitting myself. I lied to absolutely everybody around me, told them I'll take a gap year, just gonna save some money, do this, that and that. I knew I was never gonna go to uni. It was just not for me. It's not who I am. Like, especially because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just knew it was never going to align with me. And yeah, making that decision, I was scared shitless. Like, I mean, the anxiety that I had around that time was crazy. And then I got into PT, and I really, really pushed on that, and like opened my business at 19 and literally gave it my all. And looking back, like, I obviously missed out on a lot of experiences. Like, at that stage, all of my friends were going out, were having fun, like, in their eyes. And I was in the house every single day. I was working on my business. I was getting up at 5 a.m. to get to the gym for 6, like, I missed out a lot from that perspective. But looking back, there's not a single ounce of regret in me, because if it wasn't for that, like, I wouldn't be in a position where I am now. And I'm 26 now, and life's getting a little bit more serious, obviously, but everything is just starting to align exactly like where I wanted it to be. And then, yeah, obviously from PT to online, that was never a transition I thought I would make. And then COVID happened and shit hit the fan, and I didn't have an income for months and months and months on end. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I sort of started online and fell in love with it. Like, I absolutely loved it. The buzz I used to get from online was incredible. And I was like, no, I need to keep this going. Like, this is working for me. This is where I'm meant to be, you know. And I did like PT and online for a long time because I had that fear around failure and everything else, which is very, very normal. And like a question I actually got asked by one of my clients the other day, and it's so funny because I didn't even know how to answer it. And she was like, she's basically looking to start her own business. And she asked me, and she said, how are you not scared of failing, especially like with being your own boss and starting your own business? And I literally told her, I'm like, that fear never goes away. Like, it never goes away. I've been running my business now for 7 years, and every single month I'm still riddled with anxiety of something going wrong, or like maybe not having a good month in business, which is very, very normal because running your own business is never stable. It's always going to be up and down, and it's just being aware of that. But like, I didn't even know how to answer it. I was like, that feeling never goes away, but without taking the risk, you're never going to find out. And to me, that's so much more scary than failing. Like, I have made some decisions. Last year, I made a decision within my business that fucked me over big time. Like, it was not a good decision. At the time, it felt right. But the lessons I learned from that decision have been incredible. And, you know, it set me back in a lot of ways. It set me back a lot financially. Like, I put in basically a really, really big investment into something. And basically gave it all my savings. All my savings went out on that and fucking lost it all. Like, it didn't work out for me at the time, but now I'm like such a better position at the same time, even though I'm still catching up from all of that. Like, I'm still moving forward, but if I didn't try that, I wouldn't have found out. And if I didn't try that, I wouldn't have learned what to do and what not to do and what to watch out for, the red flags to be aware of, you know. So every single thing, every single move you make is going to be a risk either taken, and it might work, it might not, or you don't take that risk and you don't find out. Like, if you're somebody that's looking to open their own business, no matter what age you are, do you know what I mean? Like, I done that risk at 19. I didn't have a single penny behind me. Like, I was a child. I didn't know anything that was going on, and I just had to make it work. And that's what it comes down to. And like, when I say everything happens for a reason, like, all of those risks, all of those lessons that came with it were all worth it, because now I run my business in a completely different way, and now I run my business in a way that I'm more aligned with because of that, like what happened last year, for example, you know. And I think that's very, very important, because that's how we learn. And it same goes, you know, businesses aside, relationships. You have to enter the shitty relationships. You have to stay in the shitty relationships to learn that's not what you want, and to learn that you deserve more and you want more from life. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to find somebody that aligns with you. So like with me, my boundaries are next level now. And like years ago, I didn't have a single boundary in place. I didn't even know what a boundary was. Whereas now, like, nobody's getting ahead of me in terms of that. If I don't like your behavior, if I don't like something, you're going to know straight away, and I'm just not wasting time, you know. And like, that has been such a learning curve. But if I didn't go through the shit that I went through a few years back, I wouldn't have those boundaries in place. I wouldn't have that self-respect. I wouldn't have that belief in myself that I actually deserve something better. And yeah, like I said, you have to go through that. And I feel like I went on a massive tangent there, but that is where everything happens for a reason essentially came from. But to rewind back, I remember that New Year's Eve, like, I just booked the flight. I had 24 hours to think for myself, and it literally made me realize, like, this is probably the scariest decision I'm ever going to make, but what if it works out? And it did. Like, it absolutely did. Now looking back, it was the best decision I ever made, because that's what sparked the life I have now. Like, this is a life I used to dream of. And don't get me wrong, I'm that type of person that is always looking for more, and I'm chasing more, and I'm like waiting for the next best thing essentially, but which is not good as well. It's not healthy. You need to get content with where you are at certain times too, and that's okay. But like, that spark, that sort of like traveling in me, like 2024 was the best year of my life. Absolutely the best year of my life. The amount I did in that year, I probably didn't do within the first 23, 24 years of my entire life. And yeah, no money was saved. A lot of money was spent, but the amount of experiences that I had gained and the amount that I actually got to learn about myself was absolutely insane. And I always thank that trip for that. Like, every time I look back, I'm like, going to Bali, that's what sparked that, because I came back from Bali. I met new people in between as well. Like I had done like a work trip to London and stuff, which I would have never done at the time because I would have been too scared to. And like that alone is scary. Do you know what I mean? Like I lived in Northern Ireland, London's an hour flight away. Like I wasn't able to do anything by myself. And now if you know me, I am the queen of spending time alone. Like leave me alone. I freaking love it. And like I literally go on solo trips just to get away from everybody. And I absolutely love it because it makes me, like, those moments really, really make me reflect in terms of what I want and where I'm at in life and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I think that's so, so important. And yeah, came back, went back to Ireland. Before I even went back to Ireland, I already had a flight booked to Dubai for 6 weeks. Flew out to Dubai in February, came home, spent like 3 weeks at home, then I went to Valencia or something for a couple of days. Was it Valencia? I'm pretty sure it was. Basically, I had a flight booked every single month, and 90% of those flights I done alone. Like 90% of those flights I done alone. I just booked the flight and I would go and I would gain the experiences by myself. I would spend time alone, and it was honestly the best thing I ever did because of spending that much time on my own, pushing myself out of my comfort zone and doing those things alone. The amount of confidence I built in myself was absolutely incredible, and it really taught me like how codependent I was, or how like focused I was on other people's happiness or other people's opinions, that I completely neglected myself. And yeah, that's where Everything Happens for a Reason came from, because 2024 was such a year of like learning, but also really pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And like, take it, if I never would have got that flight to Bali, I would still potentially be living in Ireland. Whereas in the meantime, I traveled so many countries. Like I think I did like 10 or 11 countries in 2024 alone. Like I traveled so many countries, I met so many people, I met connections that have actually leveled up my life now, and like friendships I've built. I would have been stuck where I was, and I probably would be stuck in the same situation as I was back then if I didn't leave. And to me, that is a lot more scary than everything that I did on my own in 2024. And I think that was so important, because I was definitely the type of person, like I remember years ago looking at flights, looking at apartments in Dubai. Bear in mind, at this stage I've never been to Dubai in my entire life, and I don't know what it was in my twinkly little head that was like, go, like, if you move, that's what you're gonna move. And I never thought that. And then Bali was always like one of those things on my bucket list, and I always like focused on, you know, oh, I want to do this in Bali, and I want to go here in Bali, and like I always had like shit, like the amount of TikToks I had saved with no intentions to go to Bali. And then one day I literally just went and did it. And it just shows that like, if there's something niggling in your head, or if there's like a thought in your head, or like a want in your mind, essentially, when it comes to certain things, it's because it's already yours. It's somewhere that you're meant to be. You know, if you have a twinge about starting a business, if you have a twinge about, I don't know, freaking going to Mexico, go to Mexico. Make it accessible to yourself, no matter how scary it is, no matter how you feel. Book the flight and put a plan of action in place, because I promise you, your gut will know better than anybody, okay? Your gut intuition, especially for us women, is the strongest thing in the fucking world. And you need to trust your gut and trust yourself that your gut is telling you the right thing, because 99% of the time it is. It's like how we distinct between, you know, safe environments and not safe environments. You know when you enter a room sometimes and you just know the energy's off there, and you like, don't stay in that room. There's no need for you to stay in that room because you already know it's off. Trust your intuition. And I used to be so bad for that. I used to sit through the uncomfortable in a position that I shouldn't be in, and until I started to trust my gut, and now every single decision I'd be making since has benefited me personally. Do you know what I mean? And like that, at the end of the day, you are front of the queue. You are always going to be your number one. There's one person that you will wake up with every single day, no matter what, no matter if you go through friendships, relationships, families, whatever. There's only one person that's going to be there from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed at night, and that's you. So make sure that your body and your mind and everything else around you is a safe and comfortable environment for you to be in. That is the most important thing. Like, and I cannot preach that enough, because I used to like think happiness came from other people making me happy, or like other people treating me well. No, how you treat yourself, how you respect yourself is a true reflection of the type of people you're going to attract, and the respect you're going to get from those people as well, you know? So anyway, that's my rant. I don't even know if I answered my question of everything happens for a reason, but basically I'm a believer of everything happens for a reason. And the reason being of me believing that is because from sort of like the things that I went through in my own personal life, and sort of taking the risks and everything that felt so scary at the time. And honestly, I thought like my world was gonna absolutely crumble. I still took the risk and it worked out for me. It absolutely worked out for me. And now, as many of you know, I'm actually living in Dubai. I've got full-term residency. I don't know what that means. I'm a resident in Dubai. I've got residency now. I have an apartment. I have a cat. I'm settled. Like, this is where my life was always heading, and little me would have never, ever, ever imagined that happening at the time, which is so scary, but also so exciting. And it just shows that like you can still achieve absolutely everything you want to achieve, no matter what sort of situation you're in or what way you're feeling in those situations as well, But yeah, given it is sort of the anniversary of Everything Happens for a Reason, I wasn't sure whether to do like a highlights reel or like a reflection reel of all the podcasts we did, but we obviously had so many amazing guests on. And like, even with the guests, the conversations that we had with them was so beautiful, because I always sort of like dive deeper, and like a lot of conversations were led to our childhoods, and sort of like going through shit situations, going through breakups, and like coming out the other end of it, and how they actually would get to the position that they're in now. And like most people that I had on did all say that, they went through this shit period, whether it was in business, whether it was in a relationship, and now they're heartbreak coaches, or like coaches like having binge eating disorders and losing their confidence altogether, and now they're teaching other people and they're finding their own purpose. And that's what it's all about, because every single thing that you go through in life will lead you to something better. And if anything, even if it is the shittest period of our lives, we are going to learn something from it, and that's going to be about other people. It's going to be something you learn about yourself, and it's something that's going to help you move forward, So I'm so excited for what 2026 has to bring for us. I'm honestly so excited. There's so many new guests coming on this year as well, so big year ahead. And look, like I said, I just want to do a reintroduction of myself, of Everything Happens for a Reason, and say a massive thank you to absolutely everybody that has been tuning in and that has been listening. And make sure, like, comment your ideas of what you want to hear about, or what type of guests you want me to have on, because that's definitely helpful for me as well, because at the end of the day, guys, I'm doing this for you. And originally I thought I was going to make a fitness podcast, but honestly, like, Everything Happens for a Reason has been my little passion project, and I've been loving doing it and having those insightful conversations. Because honestly, I think if I wasn't a PT, I'd be a therapist, like a psychological kind of vibe, because I find it, I'm so passionate about it, and I love understanding like the things that people are going through and how, it shaped their lives to essentially now. So that's where I'm at. That's giving my little psychology like passion a little boost, but thank you all for joining. I will see you next Wednesday as always. And yeah, have the best week and go and smash 2026.